This is my Module 2C entry, journal entry, and for this I'm going to talk about what does it mean to think historically, the slave voyage database, and the Middle Passage student activity. And I'll start with what does it mean to think historically. And there, I really liked attribution, which it talked about, which is really just digging deep into the author, looking at their biases, why did they write this, all of that. And I think that's something that we don't do enough, at least at my school, I think. We read a lot of passages without talking about the author, who the author is. And I think that you could spend a full day talking about who the author is. And you don't have to do it necessarily for everything, but just getting them to understand biases and everybody has a story that they want to tell, and that history is a story at the end of the day, and that you really want to look for the facts in these stories. So I thought attribution was really interesting. When it comes to the slave voyages database timeline, the interesting part I found coming out of there that I hadn't thought about: number one, didn't know that Portugal was that big of exporter in slaves. I did not know that they were that high on the list, being number one there. And then they were all coming out of West Africa, the coast there, which I hadn't thought just about how they were basically all kind of transported up there to then be transported overseas. So I thought that was, I don't know if interesting is the right word, but. And then finally, there's the Middle Passage guiding questions. And I'll first start with the Portuguese textbook, which I thought was pretty appalling. I'd be pretty horrified if I was reading that and then realized that this is what I was teaching for the day. And it made me appreciate our curriculum, honestly. Next was the Slave Ship Doctor. Well, not next, but the next one I'll jump to is the Slave Ship Doctor Falconbridge. And I found this very interesting. So I found Falconbridge interesting because it was a rare glimpse of empathy in here. I feel like I didn't get a lot of that reading through these with the slave ship captain, the Portuguese textbook, the slave ship diagram, and then you're reading through Equiano's diary or autobiography, and it's just a lot of grim horrificness. But the Slave Ship Doctor was also grim and horrific, but it showed empathy there, which I thought was great. And I thought it was something that I would like to show my students, because it shows that even in these terrible, terrible times, there is the light of humanity that can shine through, and things can be better. So I really did appreciate that. And then finally, an activity that I would like to do with my class would be looking at the autobiography of Equiano. There was a little claim about whether he was born in South Carolina or whether he was born in West Africa, like he claimed in his novel, or in his autobiography, sorry, not his novel, in his autobiography. So I'd like to do like a research task with students on that. I think that would be a lot of fun. But overall, for shifting in my thinking, I don't think this module has shifted my thinking quite as much as some of the others.